Wolf. Anybody here for the first time tonight? Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, wonderful. Online, anybody first time? Welcome. Yay. Glad you made it here. And let's just see how many were here for one of Gulu's sessions over the last weeks. Okay, yeah, like about half of you. Great, fabulous, yeah. So let's start with just like kind of checking in with ourselves, and then we can just get the mic around, just see what's here in the room. Then we have a short sit. And then I want to introduce the topic for tonight, and then I want to lead a longer practice on that topic, yeah, so that you have an idea of what's coming. Yep. People still arriving. Okay, I'll just give people another moment here as they're coming in. Yeah, so just check in with yourself, see what's here. 15 minutes, just arriving meditation. I'll give very light guidance. Feel free to just drop below my words for this one. So just as a way to settle yourself and to, just bring the body and the mind in one place. So seated is fine. If you need to lie down, you can do this. And as we heard, if you feel very tired, you can also stand up. Are you okay with the sun? It will move, or you move. There are other chairs right now. You're trying with your your eyes will be closed. Okay. All right. Okay. So just taking a moment and just bringing awareness to yourself again here in this space. On this hot early evening here in Santa Monica, or wherever you are online. And maybe starting by just bringing attention to where your body is in contact with the ground or with the chair or the cushion right now. Just a very gentle turning the awareness to your feet, your legs, your seat, maybe your back. And maybe just letting the information of that contact come to you. So is that contact, is that hard or soft, rough or smooth, warm or cold? And for this practice, you can either close your eyes or just lower your gaze and unfocus your gaze. Just letting all the muscles around your eyes soften. And then using an anchor for this practice that feels safe in your body or safe enough. So it could be the breath, but it could also be like the sensations in your feet or your hands. And if you're practicing with the breath, and maybe just for a few rounds, really exploring a whole expansion of the chest and the belly as you inhale, tracking the sensations of the inhale, and then releasing, feeling the sensations of the exhalation. So really finding a connection with the breath or whatever anchor you're practicing with right now. And placing the attention there, and then noticing when the attention has moved away. And then if you're practicing with the breath, and at some point just releasing the breath and just letting it breathe itself. And at some point noticing that the attention has moved away from your anchor. And in that moment, you get to decide if you want to bring it back or if you want to keep following whatever your mind has been following. Is that helpful right now? And as best as you can, simply relaxing into this moment, releasing the past, releasing the future, just for right now. And bringing the attention back if needed, just checking. Where's the mind? Where's your attention? And just bringing this practice for now to an end. Maybe just stretching the body a bit, if that feels right. So what I was thinking for today was to guide you through a loving kindness practice, which is not that well known. So let's just see how many of you, or do we have anybody here who has not practiced loving kindness before? Anyone? Okay, all right, okay. So you're in for a treat. Everybody's in for a treat, I hope. So the practice so loving kindness is a really important, or the really important second arm or the balancer of our mindfulness practice. Yeah. So we're often saying that this is a traditional quote that like loving kindness and wisdom or compassion and mindfulness, so like different aspects, that they're like the two wings of a bird. And we need obviously two wings to fly. If we want to fly, it helps to have two wings, right? And what is important to know there is that eventually, or like some people even say that these two arms are not separate. Yeah. So you might have heard, so Jack Kornfield, for example, or I think first Ram Dass started with talking about loving awareness. So it's not just awareness, but loving awareness. So in there, you can see that we bring those two qualities together. And so some teachers say more like, no, they're very distinct. And some people say like Jack or like Ram Dass, in the end, it all goes into the same soup. And what we end up is the combined experience of both. And I think we could probably all agree that when things are difficult, if there is kindness or friendliness or compassion in our experience, it's easier to be with that difficulty. Would you agree? Yeah. And if that is missing, we can feel that, right? So it can feel like quite arid, like and dry and desolate at times. Yeah. And so when there is this quality of friendliness, of kindness, of compassion, it brings like this, the moisture in, yeah, of like the kind of, it waters like the difficulty or the pain. And so this is why loving kindness practice is a really important aspect of our practice. And a lot of people have a hard time with that in the beginning. Anybody here who has in the past or is still struggling with loving kindness? Yes, put up your arm. You're not the only one. You can't see the fingers up here, right? So yes, and online. Thank you. Yeah. And so we have to keep in mind that so we have some agency over mindfulness. Yes, so we can direct our attention. If I say, can you feel your butt on a chair right now? Chances are, yes, you can. Yeah. If I say, now be really loving to yourself, doesn't work the same way, doesn't it? Yeah. And immediately, like some of you might have noticed, there's even like a little bit of shame coming up, thinking like, yes, I can't do this. There's something wrong with me. Yeah. So that's like a very often like, okay, here's something, I can't do it. Therefore, there must be something wrong with me. Therefore, shame, something along those lines. Yeah. So totally normal, totally normal. The thing is, so that loving kindness is something that we all have within ourselves. It is just something that we're learning to rediscover. Yeah, and we can do that with practice. So we trust that whatever we do repeatedly, that will grow stronger in our experience. And I can attest to that, right? So when I first started practicing loving kindness, I just did that because the people I trusted told me to do so. And so I did. And I was just repeating these phrases, thinking like, I wish I wouldn't have to do this. I have no idea why this should be helpful. Yeah. And so the way that I learned that, which is probably how most of you have learned that, for those of you who have learned it already, is you use categories and you use phrases. Is that right? Yeah. So we have traditionally, and we have 5 categories. So categories are loving kindness for ourselves, loving kindness for a loved one, loving kindness for what we call a neutral person, then loving kindness for a difficult person. And so a neutral person is everybody who is neither loved one nor difficult one. Yes, so pretty much everybody except for like a handful of people who go into the not liking or liking very much category, which can switch, by the way. And then the 5th one is loving kindness for all beings. Yeah, so those are the traditional categories. And there's a lot to be said about that, which I will not do tonight. Otherwise, I'll get never to the meditation that I want to lead for you tonight. And then what we have learned is to use phrases. Yeah, so we use phrases like, may I be happy, may you be happy, may I be peaceful, may you be peaceful. And we do that through the categories. Yeah, so it's almost like you have like your Excel spreadsheet and you have like your categories and you have your phrases and you go check, 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 check. And it can feel that way. Yeah. Anybody has had this experience, you think, this is so contrived, right? I'm just going like through the motions here. And it still works. Yeah, because what is important is actually our intention. Yeah, so that is true regardless of how we practice it. We can't make ourselves feel it that way, but we can invite a felt quality in, because we know if we feel it, it's actually easier to practice. But practicing doesn't require that we feel something. Yeah, so please keep that in mind. We can practice loving kindness without feeling anything, because it's the intention that will create the change over time. Yeah. So that's said for loving kindness in general, just like very quickly. So what I want to do with you today, so if you happen to have your phone on you, and if you have it out there, don't worry about it. So there is actually the beautiful mettā sutta. So if you have your phone here, and again, if you don't worry about it, like you can don't have to do this. So, but if you put into your phone, into the search mettā, METTA, and a new word, SUTTA, sutta, mettā sutta. And then the first one that comes up is access to insight. And please click on that. And so this is what the Buddha taught about loving kindness. And I will read this, and I'll invite you, for those of you who have your phones out, to read that, like follow along with the text. And I want us to all really listen to how the Buddha describes that, because that will lead into the practice that I'll guide us through. Okay. So he said, this is what should be done by one who is skilled in goodness and who knows the path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties and frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm and wise and skillful, not proud or demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing in gladness and in safety, may all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near and far away, those born and to be born, May all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a parent protects with their life their child, their only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upwards to the skies and downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will. Whether standing or walking, seated or lying down, freed from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from all sense desires, is not born again into this world. So, how does the Buddha tell us to practice loving kindness here? Anybody noticed? He gave instructions for loving kindness practice here. Radiating, yeah? Radiating upwards to the skies, downwards to the depths, outwards and unbounded, free from hatred and ill will. Yeah? And this is interesting because technically, the way that we're practicing loving kindness, the Buddha didn't teach it that way. That was something that came in several hundred years later in a commentary, which again, it doesn't make it wrong or anything. Obviously, it works really well. Yeah, it's a wonderful practice. And it can also be helpful to know there are other ways to practice loving kindness. Yeah. And so this is the practice that I will lead you through today. Yeah. And then afterwards we can talk a little bit more about what was that like? Yeah. Was that easier? Was that more difficult for you? So shall we do that? Yeah. So please put your phones away. Put them on airplane mode. And finding a comfortable posture for loving kindness practice. And I see some of you are lying down, which is totally fine. It's just like with the instructions, use them in a way that they make sense to you. Yeah, because we will be radiating loving kindness in all directions. And your directions are a little bit different when you're lying down. So, all right. So just again, taking a moment to maybe seeing if the body needs a stretch or needs anything else to get settled, or maybe just dropping right back into your meditation space that we have already established a bit earlier. And so remember, I will offer different options to maybe get in touch with kindness or with love. And maybe you do or you will feel that. And if not, don't worry. You can just go through the different steps and just imagine maybe what would that feel like? Yeah, if you would be practicing in this way. And then, of course, just like with our other practice, it's just something that we keep doing over and over again. So these are just the instructions for this particular way to practice loving kindness. So first of all, I want to invite you to set an intention for this practice. So what's your intention for this practice? It could be to stay soft or to be kind to yourself or to be open or to keep coming back to the instructions. And your intention can be something for you to keep coming back to throughout the practice. When you feel like you're lost or maybe you dozed off for a moment, just starting off with your intention again. And now I'm inviting you to bring to mind like either a loved one or like your, oh, you remember loving kindness to be, or an instance where maybe your heart felt very tender and very open, where you maybe felt connected. It could be something as simple as like watching a litter of kittens play, just something that lets you soften and connect with care or with love. And so maybe you're able to kind of get hold of something here. Maybe there is a sense of care or love, connection. And if there's not, don't worry about it. So you can still practice. And now in the next step, inviting you to just letting this sense of metta, of love, of kindness, letting that spread through your whole being. There are different words that are used for this, and you can see if there's one that resonates with you, like you could immerse yourself, or you could abide in it. You could imagine that every cell of your being is filled with this loving kindness. And just letting this be very gentle, very easy, like noticing when you're trying too hard and just backing off. Seeing this more like a game, like being playful. So as if your whole body was filled, your whole body and mind was filled with loving kindness. Just like oxygen travels to all the cells in your body. So, and now for the next step. Again, I give you a few different images and you see what might work for you here. So we want to kind of connect with this loving kindness. So you could imagine like the loving kindness is a sun in your center, or like your entire being, or a light or a candle. And it is kind of covered with windows or with curtains all around. And what we are going to do is, so we will go through all the directions, starting with the front. And imagine that we are removing whatever is closing off this light or this energy to shine forth. So you could imagine now in your front, like you're drawing a curtain back or you're opening a window. And as you do that, the loving kindness just pours forth. So there's zero effort needed on your part. So you're not doing that. Just like you do not make the light shine. You're just removing the obstacles. And then imagine that the loving kindness just enlightens or brightens or touches all beings in front of you. And you don't have to worry how far the light shines or how bright it is, but just your job is just to remove that curtain and letting the light shine. And then, yes, of course, for us who are here in this room, we might be very aware that we're shining loving kindness onto some people in front of us right now. So people are also receiving the loving kindness. And now we're moving on to our right side. So bringing the attention to your right side and imagining kind of pulling the curtain here. So the light pours forth to your right. And again, if at some point you just get lost, you can connect with your image or your intention. And now moving to your back, bringing the attention to your back and pulling the curtain aside here so that the light can shine, the love can shine, the energy can shine out from your back, like touching all beings that are behind you. And as always, if the attention wanders off, you can just bring it back. And now moving the attention to your left side. Letting the loving kindness just pour forth from your left side. And now moving the attention to the space above you. So removing the curtain here and letting the loving kindness shine up, radiate upwards, touching all beings above you. And then finally below, you're letting loving kindness shine forth below. And now bringing awareness to the fact that the metta shines out in all directions and making sure it includes you. It is not your metta. We're just tapping into metta. And so you can either just stay here for a few more minutes, or you can release all images and concepts and just come back to your usual anchor as we're just continue to sit in silence for a few more minutes. So now we're slowly bringing this practice to an end. So just see what you need right now to close this practice. Maybe taking a few longer, deeper breaths and bringing the awareness more to the room around you. Okay. So, what I would like to do is that for those of you who would like to have a brief, small group check-in, you can do this. So we would do groups of 3, and just for 2 minutes per person, just share what was that like? Yeah. Was that new? What happened? What didn't happen? What did you think should happen? I mean, all these things. And so you can just reflect a bit on the practice. And if you don't want to do this, you can also sit that out. And also online, you can let Alexis, oh, Alexis is coming. Alexis, would you mind just putting people, let Alexis know if you don't want to be in a group, and you could do some reflecting or journaling, but if people want to be in a group, so we'll just do like a 6-minute group. So until that, yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, important questions. Yeah. Okay. We are actually over time, but I'm happy to just stay on if people have more questions. I just want to make sure that people who want to leave on time and get back into traffic can do that. You want to say something, Alexis, or do you have any announcements? Sure. Do you want to use the mic so people online can hear you?
Thank you everyone for coming, and we can just put the chairs back against the wall and the cushions away when we're leaving. And if you didn't get a chance to and you'd like to make a contribution to the center to support Christiane this evening for the energy exchange, then we can help you with that at the front as well. So thank you for your generosity.
Thank you, Alexis. Thank you, Selena, for volunteering for today and other volunteers here. Thank you online, everybody. Good seeing you, good practicing with you. And thank you, everyone here. Hope to see you again soon. Thank you.